real footage of China's economic misery. Homeless young people sleep everywhere on the streets. In the past, many large factories settled in Shenzhen and Guangzhou, creating numerous employment opportunities and making Shenzhen the third largest city after Beijing and Shanghai. However, Shenzhen's economic situation has worsened, with many people now sleeping on the streets and in front of the station. Official figures released by the Chinese Communist Party show that the number of newly registered unemployed residents in Shenzhen in the first quarter of this year increased by 40% year-on-year and 15% from the fourth quarter of last year. According to the South China Morning Post, this unemployment statistic may be incomplete, as many laid-off workers haven't been recorded or reported, meaning the official number may represent only a portion of the unemployed. Furthermore, the 2024 College Student Employment Research Report, released by the China Zhaopin recruitment platform, shows that as of mid-October, only 38% of graduates received informal employment notices. A survey by Guangdong University of Technology revealed an employment rate of just 41% for this year's graduates, meaning as many as 60% are unemployed. A recent viral video shows a large number of people, including children, sleeping in the square in front of Longhua bus station in Shenzhen, Guangdong. Chinese netizens believe most of these individuals came from rural areas seeking work, but with jobs scarce and no extra money for basic accommodations, they are forced to sleep on the streets, waiting for opportunities. Some netizens pointed out that this scene occurred as early as last year, and the tragic situation has worsened dramatically this year. Young people across China are sleeping on streets, in pipes, and underground passages. Even cinemas have become makeshift sleeping places. While youth are often associated with vigor and fashion, China's economic decline has left many young people sleeping on the streets due to job scarcity. In July 2024, many people slept in Longhua bus station square in Shenzhen. The video shows numerous individuals sleeping on the ground, with many young people sitting in the square playing on their phones. The video subtitles read, "This year's unemployment rate is higher than in previous years. In previous years, there weren't as many people wandering and sleeping on the streets. This year, sleeping on the ground can be seen everywhere in stations, parks, and squares. It's clear how difficult it is to find a job this year. Some netizens say it will get even harder in the future, with possibly no work at all. It's terrifying to think about." A netizen also posted a photo of a child sleeping near Longhua bus station, showing a young man sitting on the ground, sleeping on his arms. On June 29, 2024, a netizen named Truth Media posted on Twitter that on June 25th, young people were sleeping under a bridge waiting for recruitment letters from factories. They mentioned that Jiangsu province is now full of stranded students, competing for hourly wages of just 13 to 14 yuan. The number of young people sleeping on the streets has risen in recent years as China's economy continues to decline. Many factories in Guangdong have closed, leading to widespread job losses and forcing people to live temporarily on the streets. According to incomplete statistics, unemployment, bankruptcy, and homelessness in major Chinese cities such as Shanghai, Beijing, and Chongqing are similar to what has been recorded in Shenzhen. Hundreds of major Japanese and Taiwanese corporations leave China over fears of being held hostage. Faced with growing threats from Beijing, Japanese, Taiwanese, and other companies are now accelerating their exit from China. On July 23rd, Japan's Nippon Steel announced that it would end its 20-year joint venture with China's Baosteel. The contract will expire at the end of August. Nippon Steel has found it difficult to expand its business in China and plans to shift investment to India and the United States. Nippon Steel also stated that it plans to sell all of its shares in the joint venture with China's Baosteel for $241 million, though the sale will require regulatory approval. During the joint venture, Nippon Steel sued China's Bao Steel in a Japanese court in 2021, accusing the Chinese side of stealing Japanese patents on electroplated steel sheets, which China supplies to Toyota for electric vehicles. The case is still ongoing. This is a typical example of foreign companies rushing to withdraw from China. On July 12th, Japanese construction machinery manufacturer Kato Works announced the dissolution and liquidation of its subsidiary that produces and sells hydraulic excavators in Kunshan, Jiangsu. Construction machinery company Kato Nakajima also announced that it would liquidate in August to exit the Chinese market. This trend is spreading from the manufacturing sector to the beauty products sector, with high-end skincare brands such as Shiseido also announcing their withdrawal from the Chinese market. Shiseido's flagship stores in China have recently stopped accepting new orders and have begun to close. Another Japanese company, Bridgestone, has also announced its withdrawal after more than 20 years of operations in China. Bridgestone has ceased producing and selling commercial tires in China and will likely focus on high-performance passenger tires. According to public information, in the past year, most of the globally renowned companies leaving China have been Japanese. These include manufacturing plants of Canon, Sony, Toshiba, and Nikon. Other companies that have exited China include Amazon, LinkedIn, and the R&D center of Astellas Pharmaceuticals. These companies have moved their supply chains to Thailand, the Philippines, or back home. Taiwanese companies face threats from China and seek refuge in other ways. Faced with threats from the Beijing government, Taiwanese companies are now seeking refuge in various ways. French media have expressed concern that China's hegemonic ambitions toward Taiwan have made Taiwan's leading technology companies worry about the worst-case scenarios. As a result, some companies are considering setting up a second headquarters outside Taiwan. Taiwanese companies have long outsourced a large part of their production. Foxconn, the world's leading computer equipment manufacturer and a subcontractor for Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft, focuses most of its business in China, but also operates in Europe, Brazil, and Mexico. TSMC, a semiconductor giant that manufactures for companies such as Nvidia and Apple, has just announced the construction of a second factory in Arizona, USA, with an investment of more than $65 billion, including $6.6 billion in subsidies from the U.S. government. Singapore and the Netherlands are priority locations for Taiwan's semiconductor IC industry to expand its factories. The trend of foreign capital withdrawal from China has been a hot topic since 2023. Earlier this year, global asset management firm Knight Frank analyzed that this trend is still ongoing. To calm public opinion, China's Ministry of Commerce stated that the inflow and outflow of foreign capital are in line with market rules, and that the narrative of foreign companies fleeing has been exaggerated and incited by external forces. Xinhua News Agency, the media outlet of the Chinese Communist Party, even criticized foreign companies for being foolish. Xinhua propaganda asserted that the best investment opportunities in the future still lie in China, and that leaving China would only mean missing out on these opportunities. A commentator noted that the deteriorating business environment in China is driving foreign capital to leave, with many foreign companies moving to Southeast Asia, India, and even returning to their home countries, such as the United States, Japan, and South Korea. These companies come to China to do business and make money, not to engage in charity work. A netizen named Trin Tai Roas suggested that foreign companies are reluctant to leave China because of its well-established supply chain and cheap labor force. However, in the past 3 to 5 years, not only have the remaining 100 Japanese companies left, but also other companies from Taiwan, Korea, the US, Germany, the UK, and even some Chinese enterprises have withdrawn from China. Japanese camera giant Nikon shut down its subsidiary Nikon Imaging in China. The world's largest hard drive maker Seagate closed its factory in Suzhou. Suzuki withdrew all shares from 2 subsidiaries in China. Nitto Denko Group closed its Suzhou factory and withdrew from China. Apple assemblers plan to move production lines to Taiwan or Southeast Asia. In 2019, South Korea's Samsung Electronics closed its factory in Huizhou, ending phone production in China and shifting to India, Vietnam, and other Southeast Asian countries. Japanese office equipment company Ricoh moved its photocopier production lines to Thailand. KF sold its China business to SNH. In 2020, British supermarket chain Tesco announced that it would completely withdraw from the Chinese market. Dutch company Philips sold its home appliance business to Hillhouse Capital and exited the home appliance market in China. American clothing retailer Old Navy announced its withdrawal from the Chinese market and closed all its physical and online stores in the country. In 2021, Yahoo stopped providing products and services in China. Toshiba closed its last factory in Dalian. Japanese electronics manufacturer Oki ceased its printer and copier manufacturing operations in China. In 2022, Canon closed its factory in Zhuhai, moving production lines to Japan. South Korea's Lotte Group closed its last department store in China, dissolved its headquarters in China, and increased investment in Southeast Asia. Apple announced that iPhones would be assembled and manufactured in an Indian factory. In 2023, Sony moved its main factory to Thailand. Citibank left China. Supermarket group Carrefour left China. U.S. asset management giant Vanguard and performance consulting firm Gallup announced they would close their operations in China and leave the country.
Look at the current situation of supermarkets. In the past, during Chinese New Year, crowds of people would rush to buy things. Now even the supermarkets are deserted. Is anyone still shopping in the supermarket? Look at these New Year goods. No one is buying them. The Chinese Communist Party's official media has vigorously promoted this year's booming Chinese New Year market, highlighting the new trend of electronic New Year greetings and depicting scenes of visiting relatives and friends, hot sales of New Year goods, and lively temple fairs. However, the reality starkly contrasts with these reports. Videos posted by mainland Chinese people on social media show empty shopping malls and supermarkets, deserted streets, unsold fruits and gift boxes, and even Shanghai lacking a festive atmosphere. Some netizens questioned, "Don't Shanghai people visit relatives during the Chinese New Year?" According to Radio Free Asia, Ms. Wang, a resident of Mentugu, Beijing, told reporters that the local market is eerily quiet, with many vegetable stores closing a week before Chinese New Year and only resuming business after the 7th day of the Lunar New Year. There is no one in the markets or shopping malls now. In previous years, there were constant firecrackers, but this year, only a few scattered ones. The stalls in shopping malls are deserted. This is not just one or two stores. It's almost universal. In the past, vegetable stores stayed open until the 27th or 28th of the Lunar New Year. But this year, they closed 10 or 7 days in advance. The earliest they will reopen is the 7th or 8th day of the Lunar New Year. Blogger Xiaoshushu said he went to the supermarket on the 5th day of the Lunar New Year, and along the way, he saw all the stores on the street closed, with few people at the supermarket entrance. Many business owners have also reported worsening sales during Chinese New Year. A fruit shop owner I know said that compared to last year, customer purchasing power has dropped by 2/3. Shanghai was also deserted during the New Year. Due to China's economic downturn and the authorities' crackdown on foreign-funded enterprises, a large number of these companies have withdrawn, and almost all foreigners have left. China's wealthy class is also fleeing and moving overseas. Today, I'm taking you to see the streets of Shanghai during the New Year. They are deserted. If you throw a stick, you don't have to worry about hitting anyone. If you take the bus, you might end up having it all to yourself if you're not careful. On the road, I think it would be safe to carry a bed and sleep on it. As my colleague put it, seeing a person now feels strange. Shanghai Pudong Airport is empty. I don't know what it was like before. Does anyone know? I'm heading to Thailand. Not many people are going there either. Houses in Shanghai are also not selling. The second-hand market is not optimistic. Even if you lower the price a little, no one will pay attention to it. The rich keep their money in banks and don't spend it, while those who actually want to spend have no money. The market is now in a very serious state of involution. Hello, this is Shanghai Supermarket. It is huge, covering several thousand square meters. Look around. You can't even see the end of it. This supermarket is massive, yet there's no one here at this time. It's really difficult to do business now. It stretches as far as the eye can see, but you can only spot 2 people. I might as well come here, walk around, and buy whatever I need. Big supermarkets require huge investments, but there are barely any customers. It's really hard to make money now. The supermarket is enormous and well-stocked. This is supposed to be the most lively place in Shanghai, yet it is completely deserted. Running a supermarket is incredibly difficult. You can't even see the end of it. Just look how big it is. In recent years, corporate layoffs, unstable incomes, and rising unemployment rates have forced many families to cut back on non-essential spending. This year, my husband and I became the first unemployed couple who dared not go home for the new year. This identity felt like a heavy yoke binding our lives, turning going home for the new year, once a warm and anticipated event, into something tangled with fear. Just before we lost our jobs, we gritted our teeth and bought our own house, believing we would have a stable home in this city and start a happy new life. But fate seemed to be working against us. After I lost my job early last year, I told myself to hold on, believing things would improve. But a few months later, my husband's company collapsed like a building in an instant, leaving almost all employees jobless. Worse yet, they were forced to sign an unfair agreement. Not only did they receive no compensation, but their wages were also withheld. At that moment, our lives plunged into darkness. To save money, we haven't bought new clothes for a long time, nor have we gone out for a decent meal. Every penny must be carefully calculated, and every expense must be reconsidered repeatedly.
The economic crisis is also worsening. China is still celebrating the Lunar New Year, which should be a festive time. However, a netizen recently returned to China and visited a shopping mall in Shanghai. He later posted, "It can be described in 4 words: terrible." The shopping mall, spanning hundreds of thousands of square meters, was nearly empty, to the point of being eerie. At noon, Yonghui Supermarket had only 1 cashier, despite covering an area of more than 10,000 square meters. There was no escalator in the basement, so people had to walk up and down. The vacancy rate of stores along the 1-kilometer-long street was 80%, with almost no first-tier or second-tier brands. The netizen stated, "No exaggeration or slander. This is the reality. The economy is finished." As China's economy continues to slow and housing prices plummet, the new poor are emerging in major cities like Beijing and Shanghai. They may appear well-dressed, but mounting debt has pushed them into financial hardship. A new term has surfaced on Chinese social media: new poor. This group is expanding across major cities, particularly in first-tier cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen, where such cases are more common. Common characteristics of the new poor include owning a house and a car in the city, having little to no savings. Aside from the house and car, they possess no other significant assets, holding debt in the millions, sometimes even tens of millions, with massive monthly repayments. Due to a sharp decline in income, they now struggle to cover their bills. Many wonder, if someone owns a house and a car in the city and has a net worth of at least millions of yuan, how can they be considered poor? The answer lies in the fact that most people purchase homes and cars on installment plans, creating immense financial pressure. The repayment period can stretch for decades. Furthermore, with the Chinese economy in decline, many have lost their jobs and face unstable incomes. Under the strain of mortgages and car loans, they are forced to cut spending and lower their quality of life just to get by. They dare not splurge on entertainment or even fall ill, becoming the city's new poor. These new poor are described as living in houses worth millions of yuan, but struggling to pay a 10,000 yuan mortgage. driving cars worth hundreds of thousands of yuan, but unable to afford a 500 yuan tank of gas. Their daily lives are burdened by high mortgage payments, with nearly all their income going toward home and car loans. They work tirelessly every day, living in constant anxiety. If they lose their jobs or fail to meet their monthly mortgage payments, the bank will repossess their house and car, erasing years of effort. In recent years, China's real estate market has been sluggish, with home prices in first-tier cities dropping nearly 30%. In other cities, the decline has been even steeper, with some areas seeing prices fall by more than 50%. Those who purchased homes at peak prices are now suffering heavy financial losses. Compared to rural residents, the new poor have lower risk tolerance since they do not own land or grow their own food. In the city, everything, from food and clothing to housing and transportation, is expensive. Beyond mortgages, they must cover daily expenses, including utilities, transportation, and social obligations. Every morning when they wake up, they are met with mounting debts and necessary expenditures. These new poor struggle to make ends meet. If one day they lose their income, the city will mercilessly force them to pack up and leave. Political commentator Zhang Tianliang stated in a recent program that insider information suggests Xi Jinping may be aware of growing public discontent. As a result, his first directive to the Ministry of Public Security in 2025 was to prioritize and swiftly handle political cases. Notably, related documents have reportedly been sent to grassroots public security offices. There are claims that around the Chinese New Year, leaflets with similar messages appeared on university campuses in cities like Beijing, Shijiazhuang, Zhengzhou, Guangzhou, and Changsha, calling for the overthrow of Xi Jinping and the CCP. These leaflets speculated on potential political shifts, mentioning the possible impact of Trump's return to power and the next 4 years as a period of change for China.